So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with
Trevor from Sundressed.
all right, some questions today about the upcoming self-titled album. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response, the announcement so far?
Thank you. I feel really good about it. It just kind of has been a long time coming. It feels good to have the songs out, and I'm so freaking proud of them. So
Hell yeah.
very
Hell yeah.
exciting.
This album hits hard in the feels.
It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. You guys are trying to kill me doing a song with Have Mercy, arguably the saddest band out there.
That is true.
Heck, yeah, I was so excited about that.
Yeah. But the
Our
album's
guitar
great.
player Katie used to play in a band called Weatherbox, and they toured with Have Mercy back in the day. So he had that connection. And when we did the song, we instantly thought of his voice, and he was like our first thought. So the fact that he was down made me so happy.
Hell yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
fucking awesome. Hell yeah. So is there any reason behind this being your self-titled, and is there any meaning behind the cover art?
Yeah, so I felt like this was the self-titled because it really feels like this is the sound that I've been like hearing in my head and trying to make a reality for the past 10 years of this band. And it just really feels like this is Sundress and what I've always wanted Sundress to be. And so for the cover art, I was trying to think of a cool way to like make it just our logo since it's a self-titled, make it very simple, branded on the logo. And I thought it'd be cool because I already have the tattoo right here to do like I had our tattoo artist touch it up and we shot it like in a studio while she was doing it so we could get like the kind of like fresh ink blood kind of look to make it look kind of like this is like permanent, this is Sundress, this is the thing, you know.
That's
Hell
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Yeah, so the majority of Sundress songs start with me and an acoustic guitar, and I was kind of going just through a lot of changes when I was writing this record. I got married while we were writing this record. Lots of, I feel like the pandemic kind of changed perspectives for a lot of people, so it was kind of like just kind of continuing the story, but a lot more of like self-realization and a lot of just like kind of more self-awareness and learning about how I adapt and how I go through things, I guess.
Mhm.
That's kind of where it started. And we had so much time to write because we're during the pandemic. So we did like a lot more sessions together. Like we met up with our producer Mike in a house um in Palm Springs during the pandemic, and we like did like a whole like 2 weeks of just writing with him. We wrote some stuff with Jaden from With Confidence. We did a little more like co-writing, a little more kind of writing more songs to choose the best 10 kind of vibe, and just overall just more thought into it, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned like you guys got to like write together because of the pandemic. You know, you would think it would be the
Right.
opposite because of what was going on, but that's it. So it's hard for you guys to kind of get together when the world is kind of kicking.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of more just the fact that when we were touring so much before the pandemic is when we could all get time off because like AJ lives in San Diego and yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
It would be for touring, so we're like, we can actually ask for time off right now because no one's touring, and we can go write songs.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
So,
Yeah. All right. So what song off this album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
ooh, longest to write is definitely 20 Below, which is the next single that's coming out. I had what I thought was a verse for that song for like the past 4 years. And then at that writing session, our manager I was playing it and he was like, that's a great chorus. And I was like, no, it's this verse that I have and I can't come up with a chorus for it. And it's just like, that is the chorus. And so a 5-year verse turned into the chorus of that song.
Damn.
So yeah, that one was a long time coming and it feels really special. But I have to say my favorite song is probably the last track. It's called Anyone Else But You. And it's kind of that I wrote it in a really kind of dark place, but in a kind of realizing a lot about my own mental health and my partner's mental health, and like kind of understanding how to communicate and like where those, like kind of just really understanding her struggles in like a deeper way. And it just felt that song just kind of poured out of me in a few minutes. It was one of those. So I'm very connected to it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener to the opener, close be a closer, just shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
We pretty much just recorded our favorite songs, and then I decided the order after we decided on the songs. But definitely like while we were recording, we started to feel like this one would be a good opener. Actually the title, or not the title track, the first track, Cry About It, Better Hell, I originally wanted to call the album Better Hell, but I didn't want to start with track one as a title track 2 albums in a row.
Yeah, that's
like we did for the last record. So that was kind of also part of the reason why we decided to do self-titled, to be completely honest.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
There's a good chunk of features on here, and I thought that was interesting for a self-titled, because you are talking about how it's like the way you kind of saw the band, but there's also a lot of features on here. So like, was there any sort of hesitancy with that, or does it feel natural?
It feels natural for me, honestly. I've always been a very collaborative person. Like the band members have always been kind of a loose group of whatever good friends I have that are down to go and get in the van for a month, so it's kind of felt like it was part of the story of just because all these people were people that I have known for years, other than Brian. That was just like awesome luck for me. But yeah, they're all just people that I really enjoy their songwriting and their voices, and it felt like kind of a cool opportunity to showcase them as well as like get them involved in my creative process. So
yeah. Did they all have a part in like writing the songs that they were on, or was it like, here's the verse, no, you do it?
It was kind of a mix of the two. Like some of the songs we had more of a part written, and other ones we were like, just kind of do your thing. So
all right, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Yeah, so I was kind of freshly married and out of the pandemic, and kind of going through this, like, I felt like I was in the beginning of my 30s at the beginning of the pandemic, and then it felt like the whole pandemic was just like 1 year, and all of a sudden I'm 36, like what's happening? And so kind of like a lot of just like self-realization, self-actualization of where I've been the past 10 years, like the impact this band has had on me and my family and my relationships, and like so it was kind of just a lot of just like transitions in my life, and also just more confidence and excitement in what I've done, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends and talk with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
I would say it could be a good like long drive album if you can listen to the whole album, but I think it definitely has some twists and turns, and there are like some of the darkest points on this album.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also had some of the poppiest points that we've ever had. So it's definitely a journey. The song Nothing, though, that one's a in your bedroom alone type one specifically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, this fucking record like moving me to tears and shit over here. Like totally not a party album, let me tell you.
No. So this one should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Oh my gosh. Fun, sentimental, and fun, sentimental, and loud, I'm gonna say.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
Definitely just a feeling of community, and just feeling a little bit less alone, and wherever you could possibly relate to something like this.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mhm.
So are you able to talk about any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this album, positive or negative?
Yeah, I guess it was a really cool experience to like get more involved in the and being collaborative with actual band members, because a lot of times in the past I've had just mostly fill-ins and it's been kind of me and a producer. So getting to do more writing with my main guy AJ out in San Diego, he actually wrote the song Nothing himself completely, which was a really cool experience for me. So I think I would say it was challenging in a fun way to kind of like let loose a little bit. And yeah, gosh, that's a tough one. Um, I would say there are also we did kind of, how do I put this? Our old drummer Max, who hadn't played with us for a while, came back and ended up playing drums on the record, and it was kind of a um, it was just an interesting situation where one member was kind of doing their own thing, and he was someone that I played with in the past and had a really great connection with, and then he was unable to tour for a long time, and we reconnected, and he kind of just jumped in while we were recording the album and just did all the drums for it. So we weren't sure if he was going to join the band or if he was going to play drums, but he's just such a spectacular drummer, and he ended up joining, and he just did the last tour with us, and it felt like we just missed him so much, and it was such a good
That's
such
awesome.
a good reunion.
That's fucking awesome.
That
And
was
so
kind of
going back to you mentioning that you were able to incorporate the band members into the writing process this time around, was it like all sunshine and roses and just kind of like no bumps in the road while trying to like fit them into your writing process? Because you've been doing this for a while, so you already have like everything kind of basically planned out in your head. So were they able to kind of see the vision along with you, or did you just kind of have to like redo or restart your entire process?
I definitely had to be more open-minded and just like for me, the hardest part for me was I feel like I would always have the start of a song, and it was hard for me to go in with nothing and just be like, we're all have nothing, let's all come up with something. And that was really fun for me, but also we came up with some of the coolest stuff. Like a couple of the songs we just wrote completely from scratch.
Mhm.
So I think that was probably the hardest part for me.
All right, makes
Okay.
sense.
Makes sense.
So for this question, we want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Snack of choice. I'm usually going for some kind of cashews for protein. I can't have, or almonds. I can't have gluten anymore, so it's made gas stations a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm usually going for that and like um the least gross and sweet coffee drink I can find, like the most normal like cold brew drink, and then maybe like a cheese stick or something.
Nice. All right. I don't know
That's
if
a
the
crazy
cheese stick
combo.
and the coffee go together.
They don't go together, but it's survival mode. You got to have your protein, you got to have your caffeine, or you're not a person on
I
tour.
have all the Ians.
Yeah, true.
So on the topic of food, if Sundressed was a band, if Sundressed was a dish, what dish would Sundressed be and why?
I think it would be a really good bowl of ramen because number one, that's my favorite food. And number two, it's a slow process to make it, and it takes time to develop the flavors and the sound, like 10 years of making this sound.
Mhm.
But it's really good and really memorable and warm and nice to have for a meal.
Nice. I love
Hell
that.
yeah.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music. So if you could be one animal for the rest of your life, what animal would you be and why?
I think I would want to be a dog because I really like companionship and attention, and it would just be nice to be the one who's getting fed instead of having to go work to pay for the dog food.
I totally agree. Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
the dogs, they live really good lives. I got to be jealous.
Mhm.
My wife just got us a puppy actually when I got home from tour.
Oh my
Nice.
God. What breed is it? What's the name?
His name is Cow because he has
That's a fucking awesome name.
the print of a cow, and he's a half mini Australian Shepherd, half Catahoula.
Oh my
He's
God.
he's on the Sundressed Instagram for sure somewhere.
I gotta peep him. That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. So if you could have lunch with any celebrity or artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
It would definitely be Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. His just hearing his music and his how he writes lyrics really changed my life and made me want to write songs. And I would love to just pick his brain and or just tell him that.
Hell yeah! All right.
Fuck yeah.
And for this last question, boom, you're on a desert island. You can bring one movie, one album, and one person. Who and what are you bringing?
Oh man, I've got to bring my wife because we are attached at the hip. She's my person. Um, Album, I think I'm gonna say, gosh, this isn't even one of my top three, but I'm gonna say anything self-titled. It's in my top 10 for sure, but I just feel like it has enough. It has so many twists and turns that it can cover a lot of angles and moods. I think that's a good one. And then it was album, person, and
Movie.
movie. Oh gosh, I am gonna say This Is 40 with Paul Rudd because I love Paul Rudd and it's just a very comforting, funny, happy movie.
Sounds good.
Fuck yeah.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
We just announced some West Coast shows and the album comes out on August 11th. I'm so freaking excited to have this thing out. I think pre-orders are coming soon, all that good fun stuff.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you for now. It's been Trevor from Sundressed, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.